Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Kaguya Was Naruto's Mother. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends, your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the new episode of What If Naruto Was a Vampire that I posted over on Anime King 2, and enjoy that guys. And on this channel, I post a new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys as well. And remember, if you're new and it's the first time you're hearing my voice, and you enjoy both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and join both channels and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support guys, so yeah. Without further ado, remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. Let's get straight into this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So, the last part we left off, the Kyuubi was destroying the village, but he was sent flying back after Minato dealt with the masked man by slamming two Rasengan in his back. One of the Rasengan was covered in lightning, a prototype that Minato was working on, as it messed up his hand a bit, but the masked man was heavily injured. With that, the Nine Tails came crashing down on the masked man, but he fused in the ground. Naruto then created an Earth Golem that held off the Nine Tails, as the Earth Golem was strong to hold back the Nine Tails and push him back, while the real Naruto came out. As Minato was beyond shock, it was his father. He could see his father's face even with the new hair and eyes, he could still see his father's face. Obito tried to make Naruto phase right through him, but Naruto's fist cracked Obito's mask and destroyed his jaw as Obito was sent flying. As Minato quickly break the contact that Obito have over the Nine Tails and kick him away, as Obito was being sent towards Naruto, who was forming an attack, a single light on his finger that will annihilate Obito. But Naruto noticed he sensed that chakra that he sensed before, as three vines break from the ground and grab Obito as it trapped him in a cocoon. Naruto smashed it to pieces, but Obito was already gone, and so was a creature on the ground. We then find Obito in a cave as his body was messed up after taking so many hits. One hit from the elemental sage messed with his body as he was totally damaged and will take a long while for him to regenerate. Minato and Naruto then went to the office as Minato told him to explain, as Naruto told him about his two sons. Since back then his two sons knew about him and knew how strong he is, and they were strong as well. Naruto found the both of them thinking that they could do anything they want. They were too arrogant, they were raping two girls. As the two girls' mind was broken after that, they couldn't take the stress, as Naruto couldn't believe what his own sons were doing because of their arrogance, and they know that he's basically God in this world and no one could touch him. But Naruto attacked them. They tried their best, but Naruto beat them severely bad until they were on the ground, bloody and broken. He then healed them, but from that day on, every time he said something to them, they would flinch. The memory of him beating on the both of them was stuck in their mind, and Naruto didn't want Minato to turn out like that. Minato's newborn son was also named Koshi Namikaze. As Minato told Naruto to get out of here, Naruto was shocked, but Minato changed his word and told him to get out of the office. He would deal with this later. As Naruto released a sigh, thinking that Minato wanted him to leave the village, as he then disappeared in the shadows, surprising Minato. But what could he expect from the elemental sage? Later that night, Naruto was sleeping in his bed when a three-pronged kunai was sent towards him, as he already felt the person entering the house. Naruto grabbed the kunai in mid-air and looked at it, as he then looked up at the slitted eyes of Orochimaru. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. If anyone know what Orochimaru is truly doing inside the village, he would be run out, splicing the DNA of children with Hoshirama cells, trying to bring new forth Mokiton bloodline users. He has some deep, dark secret inside his lab. Orochimaru would never admit it, but he enjoyed the small visits that Jiraiya would give him, as Jiraiya was searching for the Elemental Sage. Seeing that the Elemental Sage has abilities, Kekkei Genkais, that no other people possess, Sky Release, and even Star Release, along with the possibilities of new bloodlines and Kekkei Genkais, he is truly a magnificent man. But Orochimaru was annoyed that he never heard nothing about the Elemental Sage until tonight. He had seen the Elemental Sage kick the Kyuubi and send him flying out of the village, as he couldn't believe it when he saw it, but it was him. As Orochimaru couldn't believe, he has been in Konoha the entire time, disguising himself, and he never noticed. Orochimaru was called to the office after the attack was over and everyone was celebrating that they survived the Kyuubi. Orochimaru was beyond pissed seeing Minato sitting there. This boy was nowhere near his level, and yet Sarutobi gave him the mantle of Hokage even though that Orochimaru didn't want it, but just to use it for his own use. He really think that this boy was better than him? This boy was nothing on his level, and people keep comparing them, saying that they're on the same level or that Minato is stronger than him. Orochimaru was pissed as he heard about the so-called Mother Uchiha and all that from Minato. He decided that tonight or the night he couldn't take it anymore, because if he stay here for any longer, he's going to kill Minato, and all of Konoha was going to be after him. So he decided that it was time for him to become a missing nin. But before he leave, he thought, why not leave a parting gift for the brat? So Orochimaru's plan changed. Instead of him leaving with his things to further north, a Shadow Clone did it. In the meantime, while his clone did that, he would leave Minato a present. It had taken him minutes to create the perfect thing, something that would hurt Minato greatly. It was the perfect thing. He was going to pay Minato's father a visit. It wasn't a secret that Minato had his father in the village, but it didn't spread across the nation. As Orochimaru wondered how much money would the stone ninjas pay for that information. So Orochimaru headed off as he grabbed everything he needed. As he visited the home of the elder Namikaze, all the lights were off. He lived in an apartment that had windows that opened up to the side, so Orochimaru quickly slid through one of those windows. This man was a civilian after all, so it should be easy to take care of him. Well, that was what he thought. So, with that, he arrived to the bedroom as he pulled out a 3-pronged kunai, one that he had gotten from the local blacksmith. While the formula for the Hairishin technique that Minato used was a close secret to him, the kunais were not. As Orochimaru came up with the best way, threw the kunai in this man's heart. Once he looked down, he see the kunai as he's about to die, thinking that his own son is killing him. Orochimaru then activated one of the triggers that the Hokage left around this place. Once Minato get here, he see that his father is dead and saw that it was from his own weapon. Then he had a mental breakdown. That would be his last present to Minato. As Orochimaru had gone through a lot of outcomes, from Minato committing suicide or retiring as a shinobi, to stepping down from the position of Hokage to hunt down his father killer. The only thing that Orochimaru wanted to know was that Minato suffered. So with a flick of his wrist, Orochimaru threw the kunai towards the man's heart. But Orochimaru was beyond shock when the man grabbed the kunai as his eyes were still closed. Orochimaru, you have 5 seconds to explain why you just tried to kill me. In a split second, Orochimaru thought of 2 ways to act. He could run from this person. This would consider the smartest thing to do. This man had a skill level which was high, but it was obviously unknown if he could catch that kunai in mid-air. But Orochimaru had a pride and he could not do that. Running from a civilian, even if the civilian had the skills of a shinobi, he could not run. The other option was to fight and take him down quickly. A well-placed attack could take down any shinobis if it is applied right. As Orochimaru snapped his head up as he pulled out another kunai from his pouch as he rushed forward. But Orochimaru did not prepare for this, as the man moved with brilliant speed that was beyond his sight and sent a kick right into his face. Orochimaru smashed through the wall as he smashed into the other apartment. But it didn't stop there as he crashed through the other wall and crashed through the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, until he finally flew through the wall of the last apartment as he blew right out of the apartment and smashed into the street. For a couple of seconds, Orochimaru lay there in the crater as he was groaning in pain. As he slowly picked himself up. How could the Namikaze father have such strength? Your 5 seconds are up, Orochimaru, said a voice. As Orochimaru saw the Namikaze father standing at the hole in the wall, looking down on him, Orochimaru knew that he had to escape now. The noise from the attack a while ago would have every shinobi's coming towards him, seeing that everyone is on high alert after the Kyuubi attack. As Orochimaru blinked for a second, but there was pure pain. Unbearable, unimaginable pain. As the force that hit him lifted his body off the ground. As he started to break through the walls behind him. As it took a while for him to skid off the ground and slam into the final wall. As the wall cracked behind him, but still his body didn't break through it. As Orochimaru's mouth was leaking blood and also his nose. As his face was messed up. As he quickly went through hand sign. As he muttered his jutsu, transparent escape technique. A ripple went out his body as his chakra coated his body, making him look invisible. Jiraiya may be a shameless pervert, but Orochimaru wanted to know all techniques in the world, and Jiraiya was the one who showed him this. As Orochimaru was scared, he didn't know who the hell this man was, but he knew he could not face him. He has to get out of here. As he was moving through the alleyway, trying to escape. As Orochimaru peeked his head out of the alleyway, as he looked to the right and to the left, searching for any shinobi. But he was beyond surprised when his face was gripped by a hand, as he was lifted off the ground, and his face was being squeezed. As Orochimaru tried to pull his face away, as he tried to pull the hand from his face, but the grip was so strong. You picked the wrong time to kill me, Orochimaru. Had you picked any other time to try and kill me, I might have made you live. But now, I am not in a good mood, and I am going to kill you, Naruto said. As Orochimaru pulled back his feet and kicked Naruto in the stomach, but he was surprised when Naruto's body didn't actually move from his blow. It was like he took that like nothing. Goodbye, Orochimaru, said Naruto. As Orochimaru's eyes went wide as he felt pure heat on his face. As Orochimaru screamed as he felt his skin start to tear and bubble. As Naruto closed his fist but Orochimaru broke into smoke. As Naruto saw rocks coming from his hand. As Naruto looked in the alley to see Orochimaru leaning up against a wall, his face was black and twisted from the intense heat and the squeeze that Naruto was giving it. He had substituted himself with a piece of the rubble on the wall that he had fly through. As Naruto walked in the alley, blocking off Orochimaru's escape path. Orochimaru couldn't believe this. There was no way the person he was facing was the father of the Namikaze brat. All of the knowledge that he had gotten on the man led him to believe that the man only was good in taijutsu. But this was not any of that. He was beyond anything that Orochimaru has ever seen and felt before. And how did he heat his hand to a high temperature like that without even harming himself? Orochimaru remembered Jiraiya tried to do it himself, attempting to heat up his fire style in his hands to make his fist more iconic, but he burned his hands. As Orochimaru noticed a few shinobis up ahead, "Damn it," he said, as he quickly bit his thumb. "Summoning jutsu," he said, as there was a poof. When the smoke cleared, Orochimaru was on top of a giant brown snake. It towered over the buildings that surrounded it. As Orochimaru was on top of his head, the alley was now destroyed, the sides of the snakes crushing the buildings on each side of it. "Move," said Orochimaru, "get me out of here now," as the snakes started to push forward, destroying every building under it. As Naruto knew of the snake summonings, Kaguya, the white snakes, was one of the original snake summon that he and Hagoromo used. The Shinju, the sage of the snake, they were an honest being. As Naruto knew that snake to be an honest one, and over the millennium that they have been alive together, he respected that summon. Unfortunately, Manda, the current boss of the snake clan, was arrogant and nothing like the previous one. Manda had even told him that he was banned from ever coming here. It was just because Naruto respected Kaguya and the place that he once stayed here for a long while, just living with the snakes. That is why he didn't show Manda that he was just a garden worm. That was over 200 years ago. As Naruto looked at the snake, he remembered Kaguya. It was just because of him that Naruto is not going to kill this snake. As Naruto dashed forward with incredible speed, he jumped straight up in the air. As Orochimaru's eyes went wide when Naruto appeared in front of him and slammed his feet into his face. As Orochimaru hit the snake back hard, enough for the snake to dispel. As Naruto was expecting Orochimaru to break through the ground. As the ground beneath Orochimaru exploded as he broke right through it. As Naruto landed down, as he noticed several groups, children, women, man, and some teenagers. This was a warehouse. It was some kind of base. The group that Kakashi had joined as he sensed Kakashi chakra. These were the envoys. As he fell, Naruto heard several screams as he caused a cave in. Orochimaru landed first, headway, as his face slammed into the ground and also his stomach. As Naruto landed on Orochimaru's back, as blood burst from Orochimaru's mouth as he wheezed out in pain. Orochimaru tried to get up, but Naruto spoke. "Don't bother moving, Orochimaru." But Orochimaru didn't listen, as he twisted his body and reached up to grab Naruto. But Naruto stepped right into his arm, breaking it, snapping the bone, as Naruto pressed his feet down on Orochimaru, who was crying out in pain. As Naruto crushed Orochimaru's other arm, as Orochimaru bent his feet and tried to grab Naruto and fling him off of him. But Naruto grabbed Orochimaru's feet as he was about to snap Orochimaru's spine. But he felt the body go limp, as Naruto saw another Orochimaru crawl out of his mouth. But Naruto quickly grabbed his slimy head and crushed it into the ground, as he broke both of his arms again. "We're right back where we started, Orochimaru," said Naruto, as Orochimaru looked around, trying to spot anything, trying to find something to get out of here. As Naruto was sensing around, it seems like Kakashi and the others, they were stationed not in here, a distance away. So who were these people, he wondered, as Orochimaru then cried out, "Iberi clan, should this man kill me, you will never walk out of here. You will never see the sun again. Save me, and I will continue my work. You will be free to feel daylight on your skin." Naruto looked around at all these people. If Orochimaru think they can do something to intervene, he was going to kill all of them. As Naruto had to jump back as a smoke came towards him. The smoke then made a U-turn and stood in front of Orochimaru as the smoke turned into a man as bone and his flesh grew. The member of the Iberi clan tried to help Orochimaru back to his feet, but Orochimaru ignored him. "It appears I was wrong. So, someone was stupid enough to trust you, Orochimaru." "Why do you trust the man beside you?" Naruto asked the man. "Minutes ago, he attempted to kill me for a reason. I still don't know why. Will you really follow a man like that?" The gray-haired man gave a glint in his eye as his muscle tensed up. "Orochimaru-sama has helped my clan. He has made it so we can control our abilities. Before you were worried about being blown away by a small breeze. He is making sure my people will keep on living, and for that, he will always have my loyalty." As Naruto narrowed his eyes at this man, he looked like the leader of this clan. As Naruto looked around him as he saw several other members come forward, ready to fight. Some of them had swords and various weapons, and some of them turned their body into smoke. But even with all of them ready to fight, Naruto saw others that didn't want to join in the battle. Several had children around them clinging to their clothes in fear, while others had baby in their arm. As Naruto released a breath, "For those of you who don't wish to die, go through the tunnel now. If you don't leave in 30 seconds, you will die along with Orochimaru." As no one left for a while, as Naruto stood there, but when a small girl tugged on her mother's arm, and the mother held on to her baby and moved back, the others started to leave as well. A few others from the group that was about to fight Naruto were pulled back by the woman and the others. As no one else moved, all of the children and the mothers were gone. "Your time is up," said Naruto. As this set them off, as they all charged forward with their swords and their weapons, and some of them, their body, were turned into smoke to perform some damage. Orochimaru did nothing to help, ready to sacrifice his pawns to make sure that he survived. As Orochimaru was slowly moving to one of the tunnels to try and escape. As Naruto slapped his hands together like a clap, as he released a strong wind that blew all of them away, their bodies maybe able to maintain some small blowing breeze, but Naruto's wind was nothing normal, as all of them went poof. Orochimaru felt the wind hit his back, as he turned around as his eyes widened in shock. But Orochimaru was beyond surprised when Naruto was right in front of him, looking him dead in the eyes. "Orochimaru," said Naruto, as he slammed his fist into Orochimaru's stomach, as Orochimaru coughed up a lot of blood. As Naruto grabbed his face and lifted him up, Orochimaru quickly stretched out his hand. "Many hidden shadow snakes," he said, as Naruto slapped away all the snakes without much effort, as Orochimaru then felt something sting him right in the stomach, as the pain went away quickly. As Orochimaru looked down, as he coughed up some blood, as a hand was through his stomach, as Orochimaru heard something collapse behind him, as he turned to see a hole like size in the wall. Naruto's fist released a wave that even break through the wall as well. The punch had enough power to go through my body and also destroy the wall. "Who is he?" said Orochimaru. But Naruto ripped his hands out as he grabbed Orochimaru's head and snapped. Orochimaru's body went limp as Naruto threw his body to the side, smashing into the wall, as one of the legendary Sanins was now dead. Orochimaru, the snake Sanin. Orochimaru didn't see anything. At his moment of death, any realization, nothing. There was just darkness. 3 days after his death, one of Orochimaru's bases will be turned operational. Experiments will be begin. Research will be done. But most of all, revenge will be plotted. Konoha will pay one day. Time skip. Minato rubbed his forehead as he was sitting behind his desk. Could he not spend one day with the newest member of his family in peace? As Minato was just alerted that his father was attacking Orochimaru, and Orochimaru created a snake that was destroying several houses and killing people in the process. As Minato went on the Hokage's monument, as he saw the trail that the snake was creating, it went through the north wall and was making its way towards the border when something crashed right on the snake, dispelling it right there. Minato could only sigh when he saw this. The security problems was going to go through the roof at the next meeting, as he just wondered what did Naruto do and what happened. As Minato flashed away, when he finally made it over there, he saw Naruto sitting down with his disguise on, with a bloody and broken Orochimaru lying dead at his feet. An hour later, both of them were now at the Hokage's office. As Minato sat down, as Naruto stood in front of him. "Alright." "What happened?" Minato said. Several ninja had warned Minato about questioning Naruto alone, especially after him show abilities that they never thought he had. But he waved off their worries, wanting to interrogate him alone. "Orochimaru tried to kill me," Naruto said, as he didn't say anything after that. "That's it?" "Nothing to add," asked Minato. "What do you want me to say, Minato?" "I don't know why he did it. All I know is that he wanted to kill me, so I killed him in retaliation." "You killed him in retaliation? Do you really expect me to believe that? If the person that I called Dad was anything like you, I knew you wouldn't just kill him that way. So why? Why?" "Minato, the person you call Dad is still me. I didn't hide any of my personality from you," said Naruto. "It doesn't answer my point. Why did you kill him?" "I know it would have been in your abilities to detain him, even if you were hiding. But I can see that you released some of the restrictions that you placed on yourself." Unless you're going to answer my question, don't say anything," said Minato, cutting him off. Naruto let his head fall forward as he released a breath. He could feel his position in his son's life slipping away. "I felt frustrated. The thought of not being a part of your family pains me, Minato. And I let my frustrations out on Orochimaru. That is why I killed him. Though the fact I was not in a mood to care about anyone that tried to kill me also helped," said Naruto. "So let me get this straight," said Minato. "You kill Orochimaru because you don't give a shit?" "The way you put it was very crude, but yes, I basically couldn't give a shit," said Naruto. "You know you're lucky. By all rights, you should be in a cell waiting for interrogation and waiting for the execution of your death of a well-known Konoha shinobi. I'm sensing a but," said Naruto. "But you're incredibly lucky. Several shinobis that went down the tower found that clan Almost all of the members spoke how Orochimaru experimented on them to help them learn how to control their Kekkei Genkai. A few other shinobis then found a laboratory. The shinobis that went down there found the corpse and mangled body parts of people being experimented on, and there was a lot of explosive tags down there. It was only the use of his body flicker technique that one of the shinobis were able to return as the others died in the explosion. It seems like Orochimaru didn't want to leave any trace behind. Currently, why you're not in a cell is that Orochimaru is in the wrong, and I also vouch for you, said Minato. Hearing that, Naruto's eyes went wide. Minato, you didn't have, but Minato cut him off. Don't take it the wrong way. I just tell them that the prison won't hold you if you try to escape. As Naruto's expression turned into a dead pant, as he didn't remember something that Minami said. Minakon, he said. Minakon? What kind of name is that? Asked Minato, as Naruto had a big smile on his face. Your mom started to call you that when you were around 3. As a smile came on Minato's face, even though he couldn't remember those memories, he could imagine it. After that, the both of them drifted into silence until Minato spoke. Remove the Genjutsu, Minato said, as Naruto removed the Genjutsu, showing his white hair and his purple eyes that he showed the last time. There wasn't any point of showing him his white eyes, as he was going to ask how was he related to the Hyuga clan. As Minato spoke, I don't expect you to tell me everything, Naruto, he said, as Naruto felt weird hearing that. His son always say dad, but now, calling him by his first name. I understand that you have your secrets. I know you have things that you have done in the past that you would like to remain buried. I have done certain things that I'm not proud of as well. But the fact that you hid such a major point of your life that could affect my family if anyone find out about it was unacceptable. No, unless you know everything, and I doubt you know everything about this world, you have no idea about who might know who you are. As unlikely as it is for people like you to exist in this time, it is still possible. There's also the fact that they don't need to match you in raw power to be a threat. My battle against Madara was proof of that. Madara? Strange, said Naruto. I thought the Uchiha clan recognized the original Madara as a traitor. Why would they name their son after a traitor? Naruto said. Actually, he claimed to be the real Madara. Whether he was, Naruto cut him off. Minato, Madara is dead. I know that. That is why I said claim to be the original Madara. Despite being able to summon the Kyuubi and control it, we don't know if he's using some kind of Fuinjutsu to mimic the ability, said Minato. No, you don't understand, Minato. I killed Madara Uchiha. I electrocuted him to the point where he fell on the floor dead. For several seconds, Minato narrowed his eyes at Naruto. All of the history books said Hoshirama and Madara battled it out at the Valley of the End, and that Hoshirama was the one to land the final blow on Madara. A student is meant to listen to their teacher. When I told Hoshirama to not put my name in all of it, he listened. You trained Hoshirama Senju? Asked Minato in shock. And Madara, said Naruto. Look, Minato, the Uchiha you faced was not Madara. Yet he had the abilities he had along with others. But the person you did fight, he was trained by Madara, because I know that his abilities wasn't fake. However, that's impossible, seeing that he would have to be over 60 years old to be trained by Madara, which he obviously was not. This only leaves the chance that Madara was actually alive. But I knew I killed him, which means he was either brought back to life by someone, or either bring back himself to life. But that's impossible, said Minato. Such techniques aren't possible, right? Minato asked. There is many that people pass off as superstition or fantasy. The ability to summon the Shinigami is one. The ability to bring back the dead is such one thing. But the dead should stay dead, Minato. They have spent and served their time on this earth. Regardless of how they die or what they did, no one should have the power to say otherwise. I understand, said Minato. Minato had just thought about reviving his mother, but the look on Naruto's face made him realize it wasn't a good thought. Thinking about it more, Naruto could have bring her back after her death, but he did not, so it must be a restrictive move. Going back to my original point, you not telling me you're the elemental sage put my family at risk. Someone could strike at Kushina or Koji. Because, knowing of your presence, as I said before, I understand why you did not tell me right away, but 9 months should be more than enough time. That being said, I am grateful that you helped. Without you, I would be trapped in the Shinigami stomach right now, instead of being here with my wife and child. I know I didn't say it, but thank you, Dad. Thanks for allowing me to return back to my family, said Minato with a smile. So, I guess that I can stay then. One condition, said Minato. Name it, said Naruto. I get to question you about your life, what you have done, and what you can do. Just as long as it is not personal or too sensitive to you. Nothing will be reported or no one will ever know. So long as you tell me everything that is true, I will keep your secrecy behind us. And also Kushina will be joining us. Share everything with Kushina, do you? Said Naruto. For the sake of my health, I have to, said Minato with a smile. As both of them then headed off to Minato apartment, seeing that Naruto has to stay there now until he finds a new home, seeing that there's a giant hole through his apartment. Unknowing to them, many shinobis were outside frustrated and waiting, as they didn't know that Minato flashed away with his Harushin and Naruto simply walked through the shadows. So after a long while they enter the room and find it empty. The next day they tried to speak with Minato in his office, but they found the shadow clone. Time skip. It was just after breakfast that Kushina and Minato and Naruto sat down, as Kushina had Koji in her arms. Minato had sent the shadow clone to his office in order to do the paperwork. As Naruto's eyes were purple and his long white hair was resting on the couch, as Naruto thought he might want to trim his hair, it's getting too long. The group had just sat down and no one was saying a word, as Naruto was waiting for Minato to speak, seeing that he was the one who asked for this. Minato had told Kushina that Naruto had a secret, and she wanted to know what it was. And after Minato told her, she was beyond shock, as Naruto had walked into the living room with no disguise on and she saw him, as she had not recognized who he was and thought he was an intruder, some kind of assassin. As the effect of that is her chasing him around the apartment, throwing various pans and pot after him and tried to attack him with taijutsu, while Naruto tried to explain. Only when Minato had reminded her who he was, that is when she stopped and chuckled. As Minato rubbed the back of his head, I had all of these questions I want to ask you, but the most important one, I seem to have forgotten it. Just start with something simple and work your way up. You will know everything soon, said Naruto. Okay, Dad. What was the last name of your first 2 children? Said Minato. As Kushina's eyes went wide when she heard that. Next time, he said to her, as he wanted to hear first. You didn't include any of their last names when you first tell me. So that means their clans are still around this day, so I want to know which one they are, said Minato. As Naruto sighed, I had hoped that you'd forgotten about that, said Naruto. Do you really want to know? My answer might change how you look at a lot of people. Even with the warnings, Minato still nodded his head. My son's name was Moshia Hyuga and Kazuma Uzumaki. Minato's eyes widened as he looked over to Kushina, who mouth was wide open from getting the information. As a tick mark came in Kushina's forehead, as Minato noticed that she was going to yell, but he placed a hand over to her mouth and then pointed at their son. As she took a deep breath and then gave Minato a nod. You're an ancestor of both the Hyuga and the Uzumaki clans? As Naruto nodded as he released the last illusion and showing his white eyes. But Minato didn't say anything about them. I would have preferred for you to not have any knowledge about this. It will change how you look at people, even how you look at Kushina. Knowing that the both of you share similar blood will change your view on her. You wonder how strong your relation to her is. Yes, I will admit, I do wonder how strong Kushina is related to me, said Minato. As Kushina became nervous at her husband's words, but he placed a hand on her shoulder. But regardless of your answer, it won't change anything. As Kushina relaxed at Minato's words. Don't worry either way, said Naruto. My connection to Kushina is very small. It's a long time since my son created his clan. A long time enough for any connection to disappear. Kushina then frowned As Minato saw that, what's wrong? I just realized I might be related to Hayashi, she said. As Minato chuckled, as Naruto gave them a questioning look, not understanding who they were talking about. Remember he told me, the woman that you met with Kushina, she had dark hair and a Byakugan like you. Hayashi is her husband and the head of the Hyuga clan. He's a bit strict but he does have a tender side for his wife. I believe that she's also having a child. In about a month or two, actually, Minato said. He doesn't show any tender side to me, said Kushina. That's because you dump a bowl of ramen over his head, said Minato. It was 2 years ago and he was the one who said that I need to go back to the academy to learn some manners because I ate like a pig. Kushina said. To be fair, said Minato. You did eat 3 large bowls of ramen in 30 seconds right in front of him. I had just come back from mission. And by the way, whose side are you on? Asked Kushina. Yearn, I swear, he said. As Kushina felt Koji stir in her arm. As she looked down and smiled, forgetting about the thought. As Minato sighed and released a breath. Minato, could you hold Koji for a second? Said Kushina. Of course, he said as he took the baby. But what's wrong? He asked. As Kushina walked over to Naruto, as she sat down on the couch beside him. As he looked nervous, why was she coming so close? As she then hugged him. For a few seconds, Naruto didn't know what to do. As he then slowly moved his arm around her back and patted her back. As she started to cry. As Kushina then pulled back with a sniff. I just remember, the elemental sage was the one that saved the Uzumaki clan. In the second Shinobi War, you saved my mother, my grandfather, my brother, along with everyone else. If it wasn't for you, all of them would have been dead. That's alright, said Naruto, as he understands why she hugged him now. There's no need to thank me. But I will anyway, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Naruto, she said. As she went back over and sat down beside Minato, and took Koji. Now, Minato said, about your abilities. But guys, and be end this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And yeah, I'm all for now, guys. Stay in tune. Peace.